All right, welcome everybody. This is Cade with Go Wellness, and we are back again. We missed last week, so hopefully you guys didn't cry too hard when you missed us. But we're back this week, and we're going to be going over some great insights on case management, utilizing a case management checklist, and really accelerating the results of the report of findings training we did a couple weeks ago. And yeah, just take your systems and everything and bump them up a notch. So as always, I got with me the amazing awesomeness of Regan Archibald.
Nice. I like that.
That's a little better than the gracious.
Yeah, I do
Um,
agree.
But yeah, so we're excited to have you guys on, and I'm gonna turn it over to him.
All right. Hey, everybody. Good to be back. Last week I was in Italy, so we did not have the webinar, but enjoyed myself there. Incredible culture. I cannot. Yeah, I can't get over it. How good the food was. Phenomenal. So today we're going to be talking about case manager daily checklists. And one of the big things that you're going to want to do for your office, and at our next seminar, I'm going to have checklists for every single role in the office. And so this will be a webinar you'll want to keep, continually look at, go over, because we're going to talk a lot about how you can really accelerate your growth as an organization when you put down checklists. Just seems simple, but so important. It is simple, and simple is always better. Complexity is what stops your growth. So I like checklists because it keeps me on track. It will do the same for your team. So let's jump into this. First of all, how many of you on here attended our report of findings training about a week and a half ago? Um, looks like, here we go. Looks like there's a few of you who um, were there, which we appreciate. But yeah, for those of you who missed it, this is going to give you just a little glimpse. I'm going to give you an overview. It was such a success. I mean, that morning when I finished the training, I had people coming up and said, "Man, the first hour I got enough value out of this. I could just leave and be good." We had one of my good friends, Scott Frogley, was there, and he was, he's a veteran. He's been doing this almost 25 years, and he's still doing all the closes in his office. And yeah, he came up and he was, very appreciative of the information and the content. So for those of you who are there, really appreciate you being there. For those of you who are not, today is going to give you a great overview on how you can really start to improve and 10x things. But yeah, that was by far the best event I think that I've ever taught or that has ever happened. And every time I get on stage, my goal is always to make it better than the last time. And we definitely did that with the report of findings. Any insights you have from that, Cade?
Yeah, I would just echo that. It was an awesome event, awesome people attended. We had a lot of our current Go Wellness clients, and then a few that were not current clients, and so it was an awesome group. Everyone was really involved and interactive, and yeah, I think we got a lot accomplished. And I don't think I had, I know for a fact no one in there, like everyone had super high value and learned at least three things that they could take back and implement. So yeah, it's a very cool event.
Yeah, and your clinic went on to have the best week ever, right, Cade? You guys collected what, 42K last week, cash?
Yeah, that is correct. The highest amount of collections we've done prior to that was 29.8. We'd never broke into the 30s.
And you went straight to 42. So yeah, that's awesome. I mean, we're just gonna have to do that every week for you guys, Kate.
There we
I'll just
go.
teach it every Saturday. Yeah, I think it was incredible, and what I'm finding too is I'll be weaving some things into the session one. Session one's coming up March or no April 1st, in Salt Lake City. So I want everybody to get registered for that. You're going to see some promotions coming out. We've got an entirely new Session 1 manual. I can't wait. I've been doing the mindsets of bringing the art back into the medicine. It's going to be the functional medicine side is going to be based a lot on autoimmunity, which will be great. And then we're going to have each of the people from East West in their respective roles. My office manager will be spending about 45 minutes to an hour on what office managers do and financial officers. We're going to have our marketing director, Cambria. She's going to spend about 45 minutes to an hour just covering straight up marketing strategy, tactics. We're going to have our front desk, our relationship managers. They're going to be going through all their duties. So, we've got a lot in store for you coming up in Salt Lake April 1st. And this is not an April Fool's joke. It's going to be the best event we've ever done. The manual, I spent about my entire plane ride from Florence, Italy to Salt Lake. Both legs was just spent rehashing the Kanye West manual. And I'm super excited about it. Honestly, it's going to be pretty badass. But let's jump into today's training. Today we're going to talk case management daily checklist, and I'll just wrap a little bit about mindsets and how to really 10x your report of findings, because I find this is the biggest stumbling block for the majority of our clients is just getting people to say yes and close on that care plan. It's so easy once they said yes and you've got them committed for a 6-month time period, it's easy to figure the rest out. So here's what a case manager does on a daily basis. And I put a checklist together. I always want people to understand the results on the other side of it, because otherwise they won't see the importance of it. So step 1, arrive at the office 15 to 30 minutes before the first patient to a clean work area. So for those of you who are case managers, and I know there's a few of you on here who are case managers, Sherry, Stephanie, you guys fill in that role. Anna, you're doing your own case management. But when you step into the office, make sure you have everything cleaned off. So before you leave the night before, clean your workstation. Get things so when you show up the next day, you're not instantly diving into problems and issues from the day before. So show up 15 to 30 minutes before your first patient. And ideally someone else is opening the clinic, getting things set up on that aspect. But then what you're going to do is look at the day schedule. So open up your EMR or however you keep schedules, and prepared for all the ROFs. And this means that you want to look at the ROFs that are coming in. What time are they coming in? Who are they meeting with? What materials do you need to get put together for them? Do you have books to hand them? Do you have your office tour script? I mean, everything mentally you want to visualize those people just closing on care plans. You also want to look at any re-ups. So you have a patient coming in who it's their final visit, or it's they've got 3 weeks left and it's time that you have a conversation with them about the next stage in their care. This is going to be critical. And then you look at any cell cycles for re-ups. So if you're thinking about okay, I've got a patient coming in for his third post-stem cell visit in the office, what I want to do is I'm going to sit down and talk to him about nutrition and about how he's maximizing the benefits of stem cells. But then I also know this patient's got a few other diabetes. He's overweight, and he wants those conditions addressed. But he in the beginning he just wanted to focus on getting his knees injected. But now let's talk to him about real health care, which is addressing all the lifestyle factors and really getting him to change everything he's doing. And I think that you'll see those of you who are doing some stem cell therapy or regenerative medicine, you'll see that the only way you can really get the lasting results is if they make some lifestyle changes. So the case manager, whoever that is, if that's you in your office or somebody else, this is going to be the primary thing. Right when you come in, you just start looking at, okay, here's my results of the day, is I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to look for any bottlenecks in the schedule. I'm going to see, did we double book? Do we have the right provider with the right patient? All those things are going to be the first 5-10 minutes of your day. So you're just looking at kind of what the outcome can be. And we have this mantra: whenever you come to work, you bring an intention with you. So, it might not be a bad idea to spend a couple of minutes just focusing on, what's your intention? What are your 3 wins for the day going to be? And then write those down, and then just really start diving in. Second thing, you want to confirm that all new patients receive confirmation calls and emails, and that all have paid the consultation fee, they've been pre-educated, and received their paperwork. Because this is the key. If a new patient comes in, it's awesome, right? But it's really, it messes up the flow cycle if they've not filled out their paperwork, if they didn't watch the videos. Because one of the reasons why you don't close your patients on a day one, and why you're all over the map, is because these people are not watching their pre-education videos, and they don't understand the purpose of the visit. So we spent a lot of time in the ROF training talking about framing. And so whenever you're framing an ROF, you want to start by telling a person what the purpose of the visit is. So the purpose of this visit is for me to understand everything that's been going on in your life, and I want to get some clarity on what your health goals are, and then I will be able to determine if I can help you achieve those health goals. Then I will be able to make recommendations and put a plan of action together for you, and we'll get your labs ran today and get you started if we feel like we can help you. Does that sound okay to you? And so, you frame the conversation so they already know that at the end of the conversation, you're going to be giving them an exact plan of action and getting their labs ran. And that can be one of the most valuable ways to start a conversation. That changes everything, even if a person is not pre-educated. If they are pre-educated, it's even better because they're expecting it. They're expecting you to come in and talk about the 5 pillars of health, talk about all the tests that are going to be necessary for you to figure out exactly what's going on with their condition, and then you'll get the test ordered. Which that's what they want. That's the carrot on the stick. If you just say, oh, let's just order a test here and see what it comes up with, or first to see exactly what's going on and then I'll make recommendations, it's not how it works, because this is lifestyle medicine. We don't want you to have patients dependent on you. We don't want you to just be a doctor. We actually want you to train people and be a coach. And the way you become a coach is by actually getting them committed to a process first, so that they agree to have you coach them instead of just diagnose their condition. So a big fundamental shift in healthcare right now needs to be moving into lifestyle medicine, and you can't provide lifestyle medicine if a person's not willing to change. They're far more willing to change if you get them to commit to lifestyle changes before you ever run labs. So that's a big fundamental thing when you frame this. So when you come in as a case manager, you want to see, wow, this person the emails did not go out for some reason. They don't have their paperwork. I'm going to call this patient right now and make it urgent that they actually receive the paperwork, they fill it out. If they have any labs, make sure that the labs are sent in. But you're going to get on the phone with that patient and videos before they come in, say, look, we want to make sure that when you come to this visit, you're 100% prepared, because this could be one of the most valuable visits that you've ever had in your entire life, and I want to make sure that we use it properly. So can you please fill out the paperwork? If they can't, for some reason, ask them to show up 30 minutes early. But get on top of this. The other thing is, if they've sent in labs, one of the big breakdowns and bottlenecks that we see, especially when you've got a big busy clinic where you've got 5 or 6 new patients coming in every day, and they're sending in their labs, so their labs have been faxed in, and you get in the report of findings and you say, oh, I don't have any labs from you. And because the case manager didn't give me labs, or whoever's doing the report of findings, then what happens is you look unprepared when you say I don't have your labs, when the patient has already faxed in their labs. They've spent a lot of work getting in touch with their doctor's office to get the lab sent over. So make sure that that case manager, before the day even starts, that you're just seeing that everything's set up, everything is smooth, you're ready to go for these new patients. Because yesterday we had a brand new patient coming in to get treatments, came all the way from Montana, and he was our largest check. So I think a lot of you who were at the event, you heard me talk about the largest check from a single individual. We broke a new record, it's 50K. And so this patient is coming into the clinic for the first time, and we want to roll out the red carpet, and just the coolest guy. But at the end of the day, I just peeked my head in the room. I said, hey, how was your experience here? Were you taken care of well? And he said, everything from the very first time I called you, coming into the clinic, being greeted by everybody, all the documentation you sent me, everything has been a perfect 10 out of 10. And so that was, a relief for me because, yeah, I want more business from this guy, obviously, and he knows a lot of people, very influential. So it's really good to get a 10 out of 10, but it would not have been a 10 out of 10 if, the medical provider is going into the room not knowing what they're doing or not having a plan of action. If we were flustered or if things were chaotic at the clinic, there's no way we could have got a 10 out of 10. So as a case manager, your job is you're like the conductor of a massive orchestra, but your main focus is on those new people who are coming in, making sure that they have the red carpet rolled out. And the result's going to be an increase in show rate because once patients, once they have made that appointment, they've paid for it, which is a big key. If they don't pay for that consultation and you're doing free consultations, yeah, your show rate may drop quite a bit. And the amount of commitment is going to drop because, usually you'll do free consultations and then you'll have insurance on the other end where you can actually get them set up with an insurance plan. But if you're doing all cash practice, you got to charge for this initial visit, and you do take out a lot of time out of your schedule for the report of findings. We have the 10-10-10 policy or structure at Go Wellness, and so we really encourage you to set 10 hours a week on just new patients, just report of findings. So that's a lot of your time, but that will be how you can 10x your results and create a lot of freedom for yourself. If you just focus 10 hours a week, that's it. But you'll have an increased show rate and an increased close rate. I promise, when patients come in pre-educated, it's incredible when you start to see how quickly your conversions will improve. Okay, third thing, so write all the names, the first names of new patients for the day on the chalkboard, or if you have like a dry erase board, whatever you have, you want to have a new patient that comes into your office and they feel like they're a celebrity. They feel like you know they're coming, you're excited to have them there. So write it down. We have a little chalkboard that we write it on, and it's cool when people actually see their name. Well, they just feel welcomed. It's a better experience for them. And you know how it is when when you know somebody or when somebody's gone out of their way to make when you've made a reservation at a nice restaurant and the service there is phenomenal, where, they're Mr. Archibald, it's good to have you here. We've got you down for 8 people. It's just a whole different experience than, when people just treat you like you're just a regular Joe Schmo. So treat everybody like they're a celebrity. And one way you do that is write the first names of new patients on the day on the chalkboard. If you do their last name with their first name, you could be causing what's called a HIPAA violation, and HIPAA police are going to arrest you, so don't do that. Okay, next thing, this is item number 4, run payments that are due. Now, you're kind of wondering, like, yes, this is in order, but yes, run payments that are due. Confirm all accounting from the day before. Make sure you got your stats updated. Make sure that if there's any transactions that were missed, that's your job as the case manager, is making sure that you're bringing revenue in. Your job is creating more money. Remember the first financial principle, we went through it in our last training in LA. The first principle is just bring in money, bring in more money. That's all you have to do. You'll have the office manager or your financial officer. They're going to watch where the money goes, how it gets spent. Your job is just bringing money in. And you won't bring any money in if you're not making sure that you're running payments that are due, because some of your patients, they will pay for their programs on 3 monthly payments. And if you have a system that requires you to manually plug in their credit card number and you don't run that, then you can get behind pretty quick, and it's not always easy to get the money from the patients after the fact. You call them up 6 months later and say, oh man, we actually didn't run your card at the time we told you we'd run it, and your card's not working now and we need to run it. you're going to look pretty darn unprofessional, unprepared, and it's going to be a lot more challenging to actually get the funds. So go in every day, and we actually have a column in our scheduling software that allows us to put in money owed, or if we have some type of follow-up with a patient. Some of you are going to get patients who they'll do a deposit for a program or a service, and you have a deadline to call them back by. If you haven't heard from them, you're going to make sure that you plug it into your schedule so everything's automated, so you get reminders. But this is going to be your next activity. Your next action cycle is actually looking at this. So these are your IPAs. If you guys remember our IPA training, I believe is in Manual 1 or Manual 2, but that's your income producing activities. IPAs lead to IPAs. So if you like IPA beers like Cade does, then you need to make sure you've got lots of IPAs going on throughout the day, so you can earn your IPA. But you want to look at running payments, you want to update your stats, determine the best strategy and action plan to achieve the goals. I find that there's very little planning on strategy from a lot of case managers, because you get so bombarded by everything that's going on around you. You're not looking deep enough into the future. You're not looking at next week's schedule and saying, our goal is 20 reported findings every week, but next week we've only got 10. What's going on? And then you can trigger a response and a message to the marketing director and say, hey, we need 10 more new patients for next week. What do you got? What events do we have coming up? Or if you get to you have a day where you have a few cancellations, then you want to be coordinating with the marketing director. And for some of you, I realize that you're the same person, but you want to be thinking, okay, now what are some people who wanted to get an earlier appointment? I couldn't fit them in. Let me call them and see if I can get them in earlier, because you got to make it urgent. You want to make sure that you're filling up your schedule with these report of findings, and that's the job of the case manager, is making sure the schedule is full. Your strategy and action plan, you want to make sure that not only is this week booked out with your new patients, but next week's booked out, the week after. I mean, as far out as you can possibly take it. Within reason, but that's where it's ideal, is when you can actually just make sure that you have consistency, because anybody can kick ass for a month and then the wheels come off the bus and things crash. And usually that happens when you don't have systems in place. So these are your systems as a case manager. Here's what's going to happen is, if you have the best strategy, best plan to reach your goals, then the result is going to be just like the result of writing names of new patients is a better patient experience. The result of this one's going to be payments ran on time, 0 accounts receivable, and an increase in revenue. And when I say 0 accounts receivables, what I mean is you want to have all your money up front. That's the only way you can survive in business. And one of the things that I noticed when I was in Italy, and I've seen it throughout Europe too, which is kind of interesting, is when you go into a coffee shop, or you go into a restaurant's different, but a coffee shop, typically in the United States, you go to the front register and you place your order, and then you pay them, and then you wait for your order to be ready and you come and grab it. In Italy, what happens, so then the coffee shop has no accounts receivables. They've already got the money, and now they're going to place the order. They're going to put in your order, but they won't do it until you pay them. In Italy, it's different. You go up there and you place your entire order, and they give it to you. And then whenever you're ready, then you go and pay them, and they have to remember what they gave you. And I notice how many times that happened, where me and whoever is, checking us out, I've got, I had 6 people with us. I had my family plus my mother-in-law. And, I'd be like, well, yeah, you missed this and you missed that. So much money was, so much time was lost, but a lot of revenue. I could imagine if somebody's not on it, that they lose a substantial amount of revenue every day, because they have accounts receivables. Even if that accounts receivables is only 30 minutes, and you're probably like, Regan, that you're getting pretty anal about this, but no, it's a very fundamental system that you want to have in, is no accounts receivables. You want to have all your payments arranged in advance, and that can be a lifesaver, especially if you're dealing with insurance. you know how those accounts receivables start to collapse you, where you have, like Blue Cross or the VA or somebody who you're just waiting on that 20, 30, $100,000 payment. One of my friends had $1 million outstanding accounts receivable that he was waiting on Medicare. He went through this massive audit with them, and they withheld payments for 9 months. And by the end of the 9 months, it was nearly $1 million. He had to get a loan from his bank. I mean, he lost a ton of money on that because he had accounts receivable. Um, so something you always want to do as a case manager is everything needs to be paid for in advance. That's why we have on the phone, we say, yeah, in order for us to hold the appointment spot for you, we will need to collect the $87 over the phone. How would you like to pay for that? Check, cash, or credit card? And that's one of the main statements we had everybody in the room memorize is, how would you like to pay for that? Check, cash, or credit card? And everybody, is role-playing that. It seems pretty rudimentary, but the funny thing is, if you don't take that person to the next step, so they say, okay, I want to pay with credit card, what's the next question that comes out of your mind? Okay, which credit card would you like to use? We take Visa, American Express, Discover, MasterCard. I'll use American Express. Okay, great. Let me run that payment for you. And it's all done. It's that smooth. So as a case manager, and remember this, many of you on this are the owners of the clinic, but you're also the case manager. And even if you're doing case management, you want to be very tight on this policy, a zero accounts receivable. Nothing outstanding. I love getting my money advanced. I love paying my bills in advance too, so that I know everything's tight on my end. I like my accounting to be very, just very tight on all parameters. It helps me stay sane, and it also, I don't have this big credit card bill coming in. I mean, we pay our credit cards off immediately. Every week we're going through and paying all the bills. If we can pay things in advance, we pay it in advance. But once again, that's more of an office manager role. But the accounts receivables, that's case management. Okay, next thing, establish a list of 3 or more callbacks to close from report of findings. Either that's a wellness report of findings, physical medicine, acupuncture, chiro, stem cell lunch attendees, reactivations, people who have given you deposits. Get them closed today. I find that this is something that is, you have a great event, you have people who really love what you had to say, they want to sign up, they want to come into your clinic, but the problem is, maybe they don't have their schedule in front of them, or maybe they're just they're still on the fence and they need they need a little time to digest everything you're recommending. That's okay, but if they don't get followed up with, then they're not doing anything, and they're going to say, like, these people don't really care about me because they're not following up. A lot of times what we put in our head is we think, oh, there's no reason I should keep calling this patient back because I'm just hounding them and harassing them. But man, if you had a connection with them, you gave them good service, they've already expressed interest. If they're like me, then all they need is just a little extra reminder that they're there. Because I've done that so many times where I've really loved something, or I've wanted to go on that trip, or I've wanted to sign up for a certain program, and then in the moment I'm there, I'm 100% committed, but then the next step is, all right, well, we need you to fill out this form or whatever it may be, and that's where I just collapse. I'm like, okay, well, I want to make it to that event, but I don't have the mental energy. I've already got myself committed to some pretty amazing things, and I don't have the mental energy to finish the cycle without a little additional help. And so that's where you come in and you give that busy person just a little extra service, a little extra care. You don't want to be pushy. Nobody likes to be pushed into things, but you do want to be very proactive in calling people back and just bend over backwards for them. Just let them know, hey, I can call you any day. What day works for you? I just want to make sure if this is something you're ready to move forward on, let's get you scheduled. And you've given us a deposit. And we had an agreement, call back Wednesday. I'm calling you back on that. Let's get you set up for your program. We want to get your labs ran. Our medical team is really excited to work with you. I think it'll be really. Anything else you'd like to add in the program, or does it feel complete to you? Yes, it feels complete. Okay, great. Now, all you needed to do is figure out how you're going to handle this financially, and and they'll let you know. We have three options. You can pay up front, you get a 10% discount off the total amount. You can break it up into 3 monthly payments, equal monthly payments, or you can use our financing program, Loan Hero or Care Credit, whatever you're using. And which one of those works best for you? And they'll say, well, I'd like to pay it up front. And then the question after that, which is, how would you like to pay for that? Check, cash, or credit card? Well, do you mind if I bring in cash? No problem. The total amount will be $13,597. So great, that's a lot of cash, but we're happy to take it. Or however the conversation goes. But that's one of the main things that you want to do, is because the result is going to be integrity is kept with patient relationships, which in my mind, integrity is the number one thing that you need to have in your office, you need to have with your patients. The integrity is, you're going to do what you say you're going to do. That's the bottom line. And I don't care if that's something that you think is as menial as giving someone a follow-up call who didn't 100% close, and you say you're going to follow up with them 10 o'clock on Wednesday. Well, follow up with them 10 o'clock Wednesday, and don't leave it open. I'll call you sometime on Wednesday. No, you figure out a time that you're going to call them back, and that shows integrity. And the more integrity you show up front, before your visit, we need you to pay in advance, so they pay in advance. So you're pre-training them that everything you do in your office is being paid for up front. You have a no accounts receivables, zero accounts receivables policy. You don't need to tell your patients that. And some people don't even know what accounts receivables is. I just learned a couple months ago. You also want to let them know, like, hey, we want you to watch these videos, so they're pre-educated, and then they already know that you're going to do, because you sent that email out, they got the paperwork, they filled it out, and if you don't hold them accountable, hey, when they get into the office, great to meet you, Miss Smith. We've all been looking forward to it. Did you have a chance to finish your paperwork? Oh, great, you've got that with you. Awesome, and thank you so much for sending in your labs. So then they know you're looking for their labs, you've got their paperwork. Then a person, their amygdala starts to shut down, and that's one of the big things when you're looking at increasing your ability to get people into your programs and to work with you, is their amygdala has to be satisfied first. They may not know it, but their amygdala is telling them all the time, like, this, don't do it, this is scary, this is new. But the more you show them integrity, that's one of the best ways to just calm down that amygdala, so they can actually start to trust you. And the trust can be broken in one cycle where you break integrity. Oh, I'm so sorry, I was supposed to call you yesterday, but I didn't. That breaks the integrity. The other results, you're going to get improved close rate. Obviously, when you're calling people back, it's so funny. Every month we probably collect anywhere from 25 to 30,000 just from people who we call back. We're just trying to complete cycles with them. We're just, hey, Mr. Smith, I'm just following up with you again, seeing if you're ready to move forward on your care plan. He says, I'm not quite ready yet. Okay, well, is there anything I can do to help you, make the choice? And he says, no, if you could just call me back next week, that'd be great. Okay, what day works best for you? Monday? Okay. Monday, you like morning or afternoon? I prefer afternoon. Okay, how's 3 o'clock? 3 o'clock is great. Okay, I'll call you next Monday at 3. You call him next Monday at 3, and guess what? Mr. Smith is ready to go. So, make sure you're doing that. At least 3 every day, or however many you can do, but very important. One of the other things, if you're looking at callbacks, is you have those patients who are just awesome. Maybe they sent you a referral. Maybe it's a patient who you just really connected with, and they're not under care anymore. For some reason, they got through their 6-month program, and they said, yeah, I'm not quite ready to do something else. Put it on your schedule. Call them again in about a month and just check in with them, and they will love you. The thing that pisses people off, and we just had this happen to us recently, is when nobody follows up with them. Even though you think, well, yeah, if there's a problem, why don't you just talk to us about it? We're not mind readers. You need to just follow up on everybody, every single patient in your office. They're connected to a community. They're more in a tribe when they come to work with you, and so making sure you're following up with them on a regular basis is going to be a huge game changer for you. And don't think it's pushy. People actually love the relationship that you're cultivating with them if they've had a connection with you. So the next item is you're going to look for any areas of the clinic that need cleaning or organizing before patients arrive. So the result is an enhanced image and increased referrals. Nothing worse than walking in that's disorganized, boxes. We'll get shipments, and there'll be like 5 boxes up front, and I'm like, who set these here? And they're like, oh, it's a new delivery guy, because we have a space, a back room that's like a storage room for all the boxes to go, because nobody wants to walk into an office, a doctor's office, and see a bunch of boxes around. It feels like they're moving out, or you're seeing the back end, because there's two things in your clinic. One's the front stage and one's the back stage. If you look at your business operations as if it's the entertainment world, your front stage is always pristine. It never looks like you ever have any problems in your organization. And I have patients tell me that all the time. They're like, man, it seems like you guys are just always happy. You're always, everybody gets along, everybody talks. I mean, I've been coming here for a year, and it just looks like everything's totally put together. I'm like, yeah, you didn't see us in Ho'oponopono when, we got people yelling at each other because shit's not working. So front stage is key, and so you as a case manager need to always be looking at the image. Now, the image can include like your postcard, any material that you have. I think one of the clinics that is outstanding, it's the poster clinic, is Rudy's clinic. And if you go to his clinic, Physiologic, they've done such a good job at the image. I mean, the clinic's in an incredible location in Brooklyn. All of their promotional materials, they have a specific layout, a specific flow. I mean, you just get the sense that this is a tightly run organization. And even though it's not, no, I'm joking. They're actually very tightly ran. It's incredible. So check out Physiologic in Brooklyn. I mean, very impressive front stage and backstage. I mean, you can't have one without the other. But that's your job as the case manager, is if the image of your clinic drops at all, that means like if you're getting a poor reviews, if you're not getting enough reviews, that can affect your image. If you have a website that's not well put, material is not up to speed, any image flaw that you have actually decreases the amount of businesses coming in. So first thing you want to do when stats drop is say, let's look at our image. How are we doing? Are we actually giving back? Are we contributing? Are we creating lasting relationships? And this will improve your referral rate as well. Okay, next item. So I think this is one of the most important factors for any case manager, is your job is to keep morale up. Remember, you're bringing in more. The office manager and the financial officer, sometimes they're the person that doesn't mind delivering bad news. Case manager, it's always good news. Even if your stats just sucked for the week, it's still like, hey, look who's coming in. We just had a new patient schedule 5 minutes ago. They're coming in an hour. I want everybody ready. And we can change this thing. I mean, you can turn around your stats. With this model, you can turn around your stats in literally a day. You can go from having 0 the end of the month, like today's the end of February, and you can collect 50,000 in a day, and you can turn around your entire month for a lot of us. So it's totally realistic and totally doable. We've done it multiple times. So, but we need the case manager always to be upbeat, always pumped up for the day. You're going around to your team, you're talking about report of findings, new patients who have scheduled, you're getting the front desk ready, you're like, hey, look, we got these people, they're coming in from Montana, or they're coming in from wherever, or we have a patient referral from a neurologist who, we love it when their referrals come in. I want everyone to be on their A game, and so you just get people totally stoked for the day. You coordinate any potential patients who are interested in additional services. So, hey, Bill, he got stem cells last week, and we started talking to him more about his nutrition and about his cholesterol levels and about his diabetes. And he actually wants to sit down and have a wellness evaluation. So we're going to today. Now, here's the big things we want to look out for. Like, his wife's not very supportive. She was skeptical. So, we're going to need to cover that objection. We're also going to need to look, and, he had to finance for his stem cell procedure, and he maxed out what he could do on Care Credit. So let's look at Loan Hero. Just get all those details sorted out. But, make it exciting. Like, he really wants to do something bigger about his health. So how can we help him, get that done. Um, but yeah, that's your job. The result is going to be expanding enjoyment with teamwork. I think teamwork should always be with people you love working with. If you don't like working with somebody, then you need to start looking at things a little differently and find a team that you love working with. I think I love it because you spend a lot of time with people you work with, and if they're not super fun, then that's a problem. Next thing you have is improved communication and intention. So the communication is one of the key things for keeping your office flowing, for your image and your front stage to be very shiny and clean and bright, is for you guys to constantly be communicating about everything that's going on from, okay, this patient's coming in at 10, I'll go in, I'll do the procedure, as a medical provider, acupuncturist, you need to come in right after that. And it's just nice when you have improved communication in front of the patient, and also improved communication in the back. So always communicate with in the intention that you're growing, you're expanding, and that you love and respect everybody you work with. Nothing worse than having someone talk down to you. And I know in healthcare, some of you do that, and so you just it's a flat organization. You don't have hierarchical commands. Of course, you have people, the executives, the owners. We have to enforce new policies. We have to sell people on new ideas. But it doesn't mean that we're not giving control over to our staff. We're in charge. They're in control, right? We put the charge in the organization. We give it the fuel, the fire, the enthusiasm. They control it. Okay, so case management. Next thing is each new patient gets an office tour that is over the top and genuine. So show them around the office, show off your facility, talk in first person, talk to them as if they're already a patient. When you come in, these are some of the supplements that we're going to use based on what your labs show us. Here's where we actually do a lot of our blood draws. Here's where we do some of our diagnostic tests, our examinations. Here's the treatment area. When you come in, we want you to turn your phone off. We want you to relax. We want you to enjoy yourself while you're here. Here's the bathroom, key feature there. I know you're being treated for rectal incontinence, and so please know where the bathroom is. You can run out of the treatment room even if you have needles stuck in you and use the bathroom. We appreciate that. Here's one of our practitioners. This is Alyssa. She's our nurse practitioner. Here's Rebecca. She's our acupuncturist. So go through and introduce them to the team. And say, hey, this is Sally. She's coming in. She's going to be one of our new wellness members, and just get people really excited on this office tour. And your result is going to be a better patient experience. Once again, and in the tour, you're going to be showing them, hey, and here's your name. We got your name on the board. So yeah, we've all been really looking forward to meeting you in person. So yeah, show them that. I think that's huge. You'll have an increased close rate and higher referrals. Because what you're doing in that tour is you're planting seeds. And as those seeds get planted, they start having ideas in their mind about what it looks like for them to be a patient with you. It's almost like test driving a car. You're not going to go buy a Tesla without test driving it. You're like, this is so foreign. I mean, this car doesn't even have a damn engine. Why would I want to get an electric car? Is there, how can I charge it? It seems weird. But then once you test drive it, you're like, whoa, I can see why this car is so incredible, because I drove it. And so that's what your office tour is. It's a test drive, and then people like me will buy, I promise. People like you will buy it. And that's ultimately who you're attracting, is people who are like-minded. And they'll be the ones that you're giving this office tour to. And even if they're not 100% like-minded, they probably just didn't know that all this existed. Wow, you've got chiropractic, acupuncture, nutrition, you've got hormone specialists, you could do physical medicine, you can get rid of my pain. You can do all these things right here in this one clinic. That's amazing. So give them the office tour. And I know we went over a really good office tour where we actually have a patient when they come in. We take their paperwork. We say, yeah, I've got a book for you to read while you're waiting. And we give them a copy of my book. And it's crazy the mindset shift that happens just when they start reading that book. For those of you who are not published authors yet, it's not a problem. Give them my book and say, yeah, this is one of our mentors, or this, Regan is a good friend of mine, and we basically model our practice off of this overall philosophy. And they'll see something that's written in a book, and for some reason people trust what's written in a book more than they'll trust what comes out of your mouth or what's comes on a printed piece of paper. So give them a book, let them read for a few minutes while you hand off the paperwork to the person who's doing the report of findings. So all right, the next thing, this is key. Once the report of finding is done, so you take the new patient in, and whoever the provider is doing it, or even if it's you, you give them the office tour, you sit down with them and take them through the report of findings. What we learned in the training, and Cade shared his experience, we had Sasha from Reba's office sharing her experience. These individuals, they don't have a medical degree. They're feeling a little bit nervous about doing the report of findings. Cade jumped into it. Once he got his confidence. I mean, Cade's got very high close rates. He does incredibly well. Same with Sasha. She's trying to do. And many of you on this are not. You don't have a medical degree. You don't need one for report of findings. In a lot of cases, it's actually better that you don't have one, because report of findings is not an examination or an evaluation. Now, report of findings is you're going to report to them what you found based on what they've shared with you, and you're going to let them know if you can or cannot help them. So okay, this one's key. So drop everything you're doing and focus on the new patient who is accepted into the program. Recommendations are made. Provider handoff is seamless. So whenever someone else is doing the report of findings and that patient goes from transition from doctor to case manager, you want to make sure that that handoff is seamless. I mean, there can't be any types of glitches in that system. You want to communicate very clearly. Here's what I've recommended for Sally. Sally needs a 6-month program. I want to run her labs for her stool. We're going to run a nutritional overview. We're also going to look at her hormones. Please run her adrenal hormones, do a thyroid panel on her. All the sex hormones need to be ran. We also need to get a neurotransmitter for her. And then I also want to look at her genetics for her detoxification and methylation pathways. Did I miss anything there? And you talk to the patient. Okay, and then if you can get them set up for their acupuncture visit as soon as possible on their first functional medicine examination, that would be great. Okay, anything else you need from me? The way that Sally would like to pay is she's going to pay it all up front. She's going to use her American Express so she can get the discount. I'm going to get you some homework, Sally, so hang tight here. And then the case manager, the very first thing you go into is, okay, great. Well, welcome. Really appreciate you. Really looking forward to working with you. Let me get your treatment plan written up. And so you'd like to pay with an American Express, so I can take that from you. Here's going to be your exact total. I'll go run the card, and then we'll get your labs ran. So always do payment first, labs second. All right. So, but in order to do this, if you're in the middle of a project or something else, when that doctor walks out of the room or whoever is handling that patient, you want to make sure 100% of your focus goes on getting that patient routed, getting them taken care of, so that that close process is seamless. So you got to be 100% engaged and present, handle any objections, because sometimes even though it looks perfect and us as providers will be like, okay, yeah, they're ready to go, then they're going to bring up other objections that maybe they were uncomfortable talking to the doctor about. So you're going to need to handle those objections, and that's where, for those of you who were at our event, you saw how to handle all those objections. We spent a lot of time on it. Your video should be uploaded too, so you can watch that. But your result is going to be higher close rates, increased collections, and expanded teamwork. Okay, the final thing, and there's other things, but celebrate the wins throughout the day. Congratulate your team. Plan for the next day. Make sure that everything we promise our patients is complete. That's your integrity piece there. So this is where anytime somebody closes, I don't care if it's a $100 close or a $10,000 close or $50,000. Just make sure that you're super stoked about this, and the whole team is. Because why be in business or why work if you're not having fun at it? There's no point. So celebrate the wins. Congratulate your team. I love it when I see somebody, essentially they'll close somebody and it's a Hail Mary, we're like, I can't believe you converted that Groupon patient, and now they're doing this 12-month program with us. That's phenomenal. How did you do it? And so celebrate every day. make sure before you go home you've done everything that you promised people you would do. And that means if you're staying till 7 o'clock, you're over promising. So make sure you under promise, over deliver. But sometimes you just have to be honest with what you're actually capable of. The result is going to be a fun workplace, high team morale, excitement for the next day, because I want you to be stoked. And then before you leave every day, put down today's collections, see where you're doing versus your goals. I know we've got $10,000 a day goal at Salt Lake, and so we're always looking at percentage-wise. It's pretty obviously easy to do the math, which is one reason I set the goal at that. But yeah, we can look at it. Okay, we hit 90% of our goal, or man, we hit 200% of our goal, and that's it. And you get really pumped up. So hopefully that's helpful for all of you. We're going to have at our next training, we're going to have checklists for virtually every team member. So marketing director daily checklist, office manager. We're going to have one for providers, the medical provider, acupuncturist. We'll get one for your front desk, the relationship specialists. So make sure you get registered for this. You're going to start seeing some details come out. We're doing the structural alignment acupuncture March 31st, that Friday. And then April 1st is going to be training. We'll have the boot camp in one area, and then we're going to have the entrepreneur training in another area, so we'll have 2 tracks again. And then Sunday we'll meet for a couple hours. We're going to send out a survey of how many of you would just prefer to have it a 1-day, or if you wanted a 2-day event. We can do either or, but now that we've got 2 tracks, 2 different rooms operating, it's pretty simple to do it all in 1 day. So anyway, really look forward to seeing you guys there. Any questions that came through, anything that you see, Kate, or anything that you want to add to this, any of you?
Yeah, we just had a question come in regarding kind of someone's current challenge. So her current challenge is not being able to get the buy-in from the team. So everybody other than me is not excited to come to work. Even I set a goal of 300 patient visit per month. Do I have to lower more achievable goal for a team member? Just kind of asking some insight there. So I'll give my 2 cents and then you can jump in.
Yeah.
I think having a purpose for them to hit that is a big thing. So helping them understand why they're there, what's the overall purpose of the clinic. If you're making that very well known, that's going to help. But then also put together some sort of incentive or bonus based on if you achieve that, because that's really how you get people excited to achieve something. And then you got to have that cheerleader that's always there helping rile people up and keeping them pushing and moving towards that goal.
Beautiful. No, I love that. Yeah, the only other thing, I mean, yeah, have a bonus attached to it, but it's always on a weekly basis. You have to go through what the vision of the company is, and if they're not bought into that vision, then you're working with the wrong people. So sometimes people, they don't want to grow, and those types of people do really well in like a bureaucratic organization, a bigger corporate structure, or the government. So it may just be that they're the wrong fit for your organization. So when we talk about 10 times, you'll see that everything that we're doing, we're trying to grow 10 times bigger. So ideally, our goals are 10 times bigger. Then that means you have to do things totally different. And you'll have about half your team. When I started going through this overall philosophy, we probably had about half the team exodus, and it was the best thing that ever happened. We had a couple months of working really hard, but then we got the right people in, and it's incredible. Any other questions?
I think that's everything.
Okay. Well, I think it's been an awesome webinar, and we'll be on here next week. Get ready and watch your videos we're sending out this week. We're going to be launching our stem cell training program for all of you. We're going to have it open for about 30 days, a little less than 30 days for the $97 a month, and then we're closing it, and then we'll be raising the price. So make sure you you keep tabs on that cool new program. So, all right, love you guys. Take care, and can't wait to see you soon. Send us your wins. We'd love to hear them.
Thanks, everybody.